have an agenda before us. And can we have, so what we'll do is we'll have a motion to approve the agenda, a second, and then if there are any additions or deletions, we'll go ahead and do that. So can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Gail, second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections?
I'd like to, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add, if we could, if council could consider a resolution to honor longtime resident and longtime councilman Raymond Gooch for his contributions.
Let's go ahead and put that C under new business.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, under Town Attorney, I wanted to just mention in passing the status of some discussions with FEMA about the revised floodplain map.
Okay. We have those two additions. Gail, are you okay with those two additions being added?
I'm good.
Joe, you all right with those?
Yep, I agree.
All right, we have a motion and a second of the agenda with the two additions. Roll call vote to approve. Patrick?
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we have approval. I should note that we have two members of the town council missing tonight, Brad Schneider and Joan Platt. Next, we have the minutes from the September 14th meeting. Are there any changes, or I guess we should do the motion first. Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Marianne. Second?
Second.
Gail, thank you. Now, are there any changes, corrections?
Looks good to me.
It is so nice to have these all to us on a timely basis. Thank you very much, Barbara. All right, without any further ado, roll call vote to approve. Patrick?
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. They are unanimously approved. Reports. I really have four things to report. First, I am saddened, as we all are, at the loss of Ray Gooch. He was an extraordinary gentleman. I only got to know him through the last couple of years, and about once a year, he would deign to come over to my place, and we'd sit on the back porch, and he would wax eloquently about his time on the town council and with all the different things that he had done in town, and I found them, they were moments that I treasured. And I think more than anything else, I loved his dry sense of humor. It was one of his strengths. I know there's going to be a chance for a resolution later, but I welcome as part of the mayor's report any recollections or thoughts from other members of the town council. Please feel free at this time if you'd like to make any. Save it maybe till the resolution. Okay. The second thing is I received an update from the general manager, Bob Fash, who I do an extraordinarily good job of messing up his name every time I use it. The general manager of the Inn, it seems that the Inn is doing some very exciting things. Hopefully, Patrick, you know of all these things going on. So the cafe plans are moving right along, which is very exciting. That there will be some exterior work at the end of December that you'll start seeing, and hoping for an opening next summer. And I understand there will be a picture on the construction fence in the nearby future. There will also be some other work of germane importance to this council. There will be a crane parked in front of the inn from January 22nd to February 8th as they're doing some or proposing to do some work at that time at the end. So that might be a minor traffic impediment, but I think obviously they will take due diligence to make sure that it's not in the way. And the third thing I wanted to give an update on is the Christmas in Little Washington, which is the parade, which is not a town council or town-sponsored event. However, ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious time. There is now a competition among the 6 villages in the Rappahannock County to decorate a float, a non-mobile, a stationary float, that will hopefully entice people to come visit the county and look at the decorated, the 6 decorated floats, one in each county, one in each of the villages. There is a prize, which is a live Christmas tree, will be given to the community that is deemed or judged to have the best float. But ladies and gentlemen, what's really important is bragging rights on this. So I urge anyone who's interested in being part of a task force that we are going to put together to please contact Barbara Batson at the town clerk's office to be part of this. The more the merrier, and all the creative juices and all the creative ideas that we have in this town and within what we call the general or the greater Washington, which I guess would be the zip code area, are invited to be part of this, this endeavor. So we look forward to having success in this, and we look forward to participation from lots of people, Washingtonians and near Washingtonians. And finally, the last bit of news that I wanted to share with you is that I received this afternoon a resignation letter from Joan Platt, resigning from the town council. She has some issues that are going to be taking a lot of her time, and so she submitted her resignation. So we will begin the process of looking for a new member of the town council. If you are interested and live in the town of Washington, please submit a letter of application to Barbara Batson, who is the town clerk. And we will leave that open, and then I guess we have 60 days, Mr. Bennett?
I was just counting the days here after you mentioned that, and it's 60 days. If council does not make an appointment within 60 days, then the circuit court judge will make an appointment. And
Does that
typically,
get us to the January meeting?
well, no. If it went to the January meeting, it's 64 days.
We have
So-
to count the holidays.
So, they count all that, unless it falls on a Saturday or Sunday. Then you have a reprieve until the following Monday morning. But, so, unless you want to hold a special meeting, you might want to fix a deadline for the submission of applications so they could be considered at the next meeting.
So let's go ahead and submit, have an application deadline of November 30th. And that will allow us enough time to go through the thorough vetting process in order to have it for the December meeting. So Barbara, would you go ahead and make sure that's on the agenda? All right, and those are the end of the mayor's comments or report. Madam Treasurer.
I know everybody's always excited when they have to hear numbers. The report looks good, thank you. The town has had a nice, busy fall. All of the venues have been very busy, so things are looking good. Next month, as we designated, December is going to be a really go through the budget in the year-to-dates. So don't expect to be out of here in 45 minutes next month. So we'll do that carefully. On the bills to be paid, yes, it's a substantial amount, but they're all the repairs and everything that we've been doing to the wastewater plant, all the pumps and the leak we had to repair. I don't think there's anything unusual at all on it. You will see COVID testing on here under additional bills paid. Barbara was feeling under the weather, and the auditors were due within 48 hours, so I sent her off to Warrenton to get a rapid COVID test, just in case, because we were going to have people in the offices, myself included. Needless to say, it came back negative, but in case you were wondering whose COVID test was, it was Barbara's.
Okay.
Any questions on anything?
Nope. Do you want to make a motion to approve the report and the checks?
I'll make a motion.
All right, second? I'll second. Any other questions? Roll call vote to approve the treasury report and the bills to be paid. Patrick?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, that is approved unanimously. Anything else? Okay. Anything
No,
else?
that's it.
All right, Planning Commission. Do we have a report from the Planning Commission? All right. Architecture, they have a meeting coming up on the
On
end of the month?
Wednesday, but they also
Wednesday.
had,
Planning Commission.
oh, the end of the month, I have not been,
Oh, there you are, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not here for that, but I mean, I can do that, but, yeah, we would be the fourth, but I haven't heard of any, we haven't gotten anything from you guys, basically.
Okay, all right. I'll go ahead and talk with Caroline when I get a chance. And the Architectural Review Board is meeting on Wednesday. Okay, here at 7 o'clock? Correct. Okay, good. All right, that being the case, let us go ahead and now move over to Mr. Bennett.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd ask that council take up the possible closed session item consideration, whether they wish to do that to the end or towards the end of the
Yep.
agenda. Now, FEMA, this is a new matter, but apparently the new floodplain maps, FEMA maps, Washington no longer has any territory within the floodplain that they are concerned with. So I've spoke with the person at FEMA about that, and I said, well, since we don't have anything in the floodplain, we'll just withdraw our ordinance. She said, oh, no. She said, then you have to file all these different reports with different agencies and different things. So we're trying to figure out, there's no final conclusion on this, but I just wanted to bring this up, whether it's going to be simpler in the long run to go through the process of advertised public hearings to modify the existing ordinance to bring it in conformity with their ordinance requirements, even though there's no floodplain, or to file these other required reports because you have no floodplain. So we'll figure that out and I'll report back.
All right, thank you, sir. So we have a request to consider voting to enter into a closed session. Do we do this now, or do we just wait and do the vote for that at the right before we go in?
Yes, sir. I'd suggest that hold all those till the very end to get all the other business out of the way,
right.
so as not to keep anyone waiting.
Yep. All right, let's go on to old business, a review of the water and sewer policies.
Right, very exciting. I rewrote this. I put in some additional information as we had all talked about. Then I sent it over to Mary Ann to do her magic with it. We've had guidelines, but nothing's ever been in writing. So there's really, the townspeople really have never really known how things are gone about when there's a leak of one sort or another. So I thought it was important, especially these days, that we have something hard in hand that we can send out to everybody who's on the water and sewer system. As people are added, that this will just be a master, plus it'll be up on the website. Were there any questions on it? think it's pretty much spells,
I think it's consumer friendly,
yeah.
yeah, and especially for new people.
I am grateful that you put this together.
Thank you.
So much, Gail.
You are welcome.
And thank you, Marianne, for reading through it. And Barbara, I know you were behind the scenes and did lots of stuff.
She sure
too as
did.
well.
She's the mastermind. I was like,
So we don't need to do anything with this, any action.
I'd like to have it approved by the town council so that we can send it out with the December water bills.
We just need to do a voice vote. We don't need to do a roll call on this, right, Mr. Bennett?
Would be fine.
Yeah. All right. May I have a vote for approval of this document, the guidance for our customers on town water/sewer? Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. And it is approved. Thank you, ma'am. Donation to the food pantry. Did you determine how much we had budgeted for that? Zero. All right.
We had to take the budget down to bare bones.
So we got rid of all the Christmas decorations last year?
We got rid of everything.
Oh.
We have $500 in the marketing budget that we can use for decorations. That would fit into that
Okay.
line item.
All right. We also, so the question is, do we use that money to make a donation to the food pantry?
John, can we take the budget, the income is a little better than expected. May we vote to take $500 out of the general fund to donate to the food pantry?
That amount of money, that would be fine.
Okay.
When you go above 3% of the total budget, it's got to be an advertised public
Okay.
hearing.
So we can authorize out of the general fund $500 for the food pantry.
So what I'm hearing is that you're making a motion?
I make a motion that we donate $500 to the food pantry out of the general fund.
I second.
The second from Marianne. Any comments? The only one I'm going to make is I think the food pantry, which has been a beneficiary of the Christmas parade every year, is probably not going to get as much from that, and there is a greater need in the community this year because of the pandemic and everything else that's going on. So I, for one, heartily endorse this. Is this a voice vote, or do we have to do roll call? Roll call. So any other comments?
I would like to make sure that the check is cut and signed this week and taken to the food pantry, because they made an announcement that they're very short on things like turkeys for Thanksgiving. So whatever we can do in advance
That'd be great.
would help.
All right, so we have a motion to write a check for $500 from the general fund to, as a donation to the food pantry. We have a second. Roll call vote to approve. Patrick?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
I say yes.
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 All right, we have a unanimous approval. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Gail, this is a meeting for you tonight.
It's a Gale meeting.
It's a
Exactly.
Gale meeting.
Over the last, well, since Barbara's been here, which is over a year, thank you. We forgot to wish her a happy anniversary, but that's okay. She's gotten several requests on whether we will ever be able to accept credit cards or do magic things. So I got together with the company that our bank works with, and I've had some conversations with him. This is nothing that is going to go into deep discussion tonight, but I just wanted you to have an overview. You've got some in your packet. I'd like everybody to get a little familiar with the possibilities and the options that we've got. And then if you all agree, Barbara, Joe, and I will get together and do more of an in-depth review of what, if anything, it would cost the town, what we would have to do, you know, on a chargeback or whatever. So it's more of an FYI if anybody has any comments. let me know.
I have a couple of things. So as I read this over, it's this Heartland thing?
Yes, that's the company Atlantic Union works with.
Okay, so they have a monthly fee of $30. And
There's different options. There is the monthly fee plus 5 cents
plus
plus just a little under 1%
Right.
processing fee.
Okay.
Then there's the other option, which is a flat $180 a month and a flat 10 cent per transaction. Now, this can also be looked at, if a lot of you do pay bills online, if you want to write a check, you sometimes get a $1 charge for doing it online. So there are a lot of different options. There are some examples that if anybody's interested, I can send you over the links to really look at it.
Okay, actually, I'm not, so that's helpful for that information. There's also the HPP, which is, I guess, the Heartland Payment Pages or whatever it is, has a setup fee of $99 and then a monthly fee of $30.
That's one of the options.
No, it doesn't say that's one of the
I
options.
know that. I think his email came out too late for you to get a copy of it.
Gotcha, all right. So that's a third option.
Right. Oh, no. Yeah. If you look on the second page,
Yeah,
right down there, you see possibilities of number 1 and number 2.
right, but at the top of that page,
Yeah.
it says the HP has a one-time setup fee of $99 and then a monthly fee of $30.
Right.
So that's in addition to the one of the two options at the bottom of the page? And you may not be able to answer that
Yeah,
question, but
no.
I guess that's the question that I'm asking
Yeah.
right now.
No, I wouldn't do anything that has a flat monthly fee that we'd have to pay for.
Okay. I only do this because Joe usually asks these kind of questions, and I'm trying to...
Joe's not
Beat him to the
asking the
punch.
questions yet because I just got the information to him.
Well, I can also tell you from some quick math that if it's only $30 a month, we would end up saving $300 a year in postage if everybody signed up.
Well, there you go.
Can we find out
But I'd like to dig more in the
and look at
transaction fees.
other websites where they're doing, where other customers, maybe they can give us some examples?
There
of-
are examples
Oh, there are
in an
here?
email, so we've got those.
Oh, you
to
have
look
that?
at. We have
Okay,
that to
good,
look
because
at.
some of these are really good and some of them are really bad when you
No,
pay online.
he sent an email to Barbara and I with 3 or 4 different examples that we
Okay.
can go in and look at.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, there's a general consideration here that typically any charges that are incurred for using a credit card are the responsibility of the persons that are availing themselves of that service
Right.
and not the other taxpayers.
Right.
Now, I don't know if some governments absorb a modest startup fee or monthly fee. I don't know that, but typically you see the percentage
Yeah.
tacked on in full.
Exactly, and those are all the different options that we have to look at. What would the fees be that we would have to charge back, we wouldn't charge it back, that the users would have to pay?
We would adjust the percentage that is charged to a person for the convenience of using it to cover
Exactly.
our operating
Right.
costs, essentially.
Right.
Plus, they're getting all the points.
Right.
The trip to Australia.
I'd love to use my credit card.
Well, I'm going to hold off from
Yeah, no,
any
it's
more
just
discussion
preliminary.
because we're all kind of talking,
Exactly,
not having
right.
everything in front of us. but-
This was just an FYI, so that you all know that the questions have been raised by several residents and that we're going to be looking at it in depth.
Great. Thank you so much for that. The establishment of a holiday decorating committee, I think I jumped the gun by talking about it in my mayor's report, but we need to have not only the float, the non-mobile float to be decorated, but we're also going to have to do the decorating of the signs that Joe and I did so fabulous last year.
Are fabulous.
So I don't know, I guess that would be either part of the decorating committee or something that's taken on by members of the town council.
It's a very tight budget this year. It's at $500 and that's it. So I'm
Right.
going to be using the
You're
whip
going
on.
to be very stern on that.
I'm going to be using the whip on that.
Okay. Why don't you, we're probably going to need some of that for the float. Would you like to make a budget, or would you like me to make a budget, or would we like
You can
somebody
do
to make a
it.
budget?
You can do it.
I really don't want to. Barbara, I'm going to have you.
Barbara doesn't have time to do a budget.
She's got the auditors.
Exactly. So somebody needs to just know that whoever's going to do the float and the town decorations, there's $500.
All right. We did the decorations around the end of November last year. Okay.
In time for
Last
the
weekend.
parade.
Correct, yeah.
Yep. All right. I will go ahead and talk with several of my fellow town council members, and we'll try to figure something out.
I'd asked Barbara this question earlier, but last year for the decorations and for the food for the party, we only spent $400.
And we spent a lot more than
Oh,
that.
it was more than that, because
We-
when we went to Costco
Yeah.
for all the wreaths, it
Costco was like $1,800 or something.
was high. I don't think it was that high, but 800. I don't know.
Well, it's
Not
always
important right now, but we'll solve
Not
this problem,
It's
yeah.
always a pleasure to see how good our memories are.
Anyway, I'll volunteer to do the decorating.
All right, thank you. And I will, of course, be part of it as well.
Joe, you can volunteer a lot of people right there.
Yes. All of you guys, you're more than welcome. Just go ahead and either see me or Barbara after the meeting.
We'll schedule around good
We'll
weather.
lock the doors. All right. Now, I hate to change the mood, but let's go ahead and close that down and finally talk a little bit more about a resolution or something for Ray Gooch. Marianne, do you feel comfortable talking a little bit?
Oh, yeah, sure. I suggested a resolution because Ray served on the town council before I even came here to the county. I think it was 1987 to 1998. And during that time, it was a tumultuous time. And Patrick, of course, can recall that better than anybody. And Ray, this is a personal story I'll share with you, but we had just bought a farm in Rappahannock, and it was like 1998. And I would buy the Rappahannock News every week, and I'd read it, and I'd read what Ray would say, what they quoted him saying, everything. And I thought, God, this man is so honorable. And it was just amazing. And and then I came to a town council meeting. I can't remember what it was for, and I was walking up the steps, and somebody introduced me, and I just blurted out, "You are the most honorable man I've ever met." So he had such integrity, and he had a passion for this town and the history of it. And in February of this year, I found, when I was going through some of his things, an article he wrote about the story about George Washington and Gay Fairfax, and let's keep that alive. And he's lived here. Ray's lived here for 50 years almost. And during his time on the town council, he chaired a committee that was doing a report on the future of the town. And in it, it's interesting, I can share it with you all and give you copies, but a lot of the things that we're talking about now, they were talking about back then in 1995, 1996.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah. And Patrick has many more, has anecdotes and everything of what life was like in the town back when Ray went on the council in 1987.
Mine are mostly censored, though, and we could never discuss those while the newspaper was present. We don't want to churn up any of those embers. But it was a very different place, a very contentious place. You know, you often hear about little country towns like this settling disputes by gunfight. Well, we weren't too much farther away from that at the point that we opened in 1978 and Ray was on the council. It was, they played rough. And particularly in political situations. So the name of the game, which is standard in politics is control, and they felt control of the county and the town was eroding with new intelligent people moving in who were kind of observant and critical, and especially in Ray's situation, happened to be an attorney. That was very threatening. So the town sort of fell into two camps, each at war with the other. And Ray also had a passion for justice. And he stood up to all the threats, personal and physical, and prevailed. And collectively, the way was sort of paved for Gene Leggett to come in as mayor and, in his own words, reestablish trust. So I don't know what would have happened if we hadn't had characters like Ray. Because in part, one of the goals and intentions to prevent the threat of change was to put the inn out of business. So typically, any approach that could be taken politically to damage the inn, hurt the inn, or essentially put it out of business by attacking its liquor license, by accusing one of the proprietors of voter fraud, and ridiculous kinds of attempts that were used. So Ray and Diane Bruce were tremendous allies to be able to see this situation as it was unfolding and stand up to the powers that be. So the town councils were very different meetings at that point. I remember one night seeing someone tear down the street. He was running out of the meeting. He was fleeing because, in his words, he couldn't put up with one bit more of that blank, 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 blank that was going on there. So Eve Willis, who lived on the hill, told me that on her first return to town, after living away for some time, she walked into the council meeting, and no one was here because no one usually ever came. And the subject at the council table was how they could put the inn out of business. So she said, no, I'm not going to do an imitation. It was shocking, not of course because they were talking about how to put the inn out of business. Everybody knew that's what they did, but they were doing it in an open meeting. Like, they should have been doing that privately. And I remember listening to her narrate it, and I thought, oh, you're not shocked that they were talking about it. But she said, anyone could have walked in the door. And they did. So hard to imagine, but really something to celebrate. And Ray would be proud of his contribution. Here we are now, unanimously agreeing on things, with a supportive public and an inn that doesn't look like it's going to be put out of business easily, or no one wants it to. So I would say justice has prevailed to this point, thanks to people like Ray, especially Diane. So we're going to get a picture of him for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, great.
Good.
The wall.
That's great.
But
That'll be wonderful.
I think it would be very nice to frame the letter that you mentioned.
Why don't we, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Why don't we leave it to our wordsmith to bring back to us in December a nice resolution that we can,
And I'll share it with Patrick too,
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, there's a frame of letter also.
Yeah.
The real tragedy is to have the ability to forget forget people like Ray, who devoted so much of his time and energy. I think, how many years? At least 12 years on the council.
Yes.
Yeah, every one of these meetings. And up against these forces.
I remember one of the first meetings I came to here, and you talk about, I mean, it was very tense, and I remember Ray said something, and another council member who didn't like Ray went like this. He pulled his chair back and he said, "Are you calling me a liar?" Like that. And I thought he was going to like bring up guns and shoot him or something. Amazing. This is so mild and civilized compared to those
But we
days.
had one similarly emotional meeting here over the statues, the Confederate statues.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I would say that typified the emotional charge of most of the meetings in the old days. You just felt as though it was about to explode at any time. And if you erred of agreeing with the wrong side, you were in danger. And the people would stop speaking to you, ignoring you on the street or whatever.
What these walls have listened to and heard is amazing.
I know.
In open session.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
All right. We are fortunate in that we have a town and businesses within the town that have been allowed to prosper because we are standing on the shoulders of great people such as Ray Gooch. So I want to go ahead. I really appreciate the recollections, Marianne and Patrick. Thank you so much. We could probably stay here all night and do this, but I feel that we need to go on to other business. But I would make the recommendation again and ask for a voice vote of approval for Marianne to go ahead and write up a resolution that we can present at the December meeting, and John can help you also with some of the legalese language perhaps that you may want to have.
Make sure you have enough whereases.
Right, I remember that. I did one for Jean Leggett, I think, yeah.
That was nice, yes.
And so and Patrick, I appreciate that. It sounds like Ian's going to go ahead and do the photo, which would be lovely. Those in favor of taking that action, please indicate by a vote of saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. And thank you again to Ray Gooch for all that he has done. All right, that closes the new business, and now I open up the public forum and welcome our large group of people here tonight, and I thank you for being here, and I welcome any questions or comments from the public. If you want to say anything, please stand up after being acknowledged and give your name and your location, where you live.
And we have a microphone if you need it.
And we have a microphone right there.
That's great.
Nancy.
Nancy Bonton. I see they're not working on the post office today. No work on today. I walked over in there and I see this elaborate drainage system they're putting in. Is there a stoppage because of a problem?
There's nothing that I know of. I know that we've had a lot of wet weather and they're digging a deep hole, and so they have to wait to a certain extent for it to dry out.
They also could be waiting for the building inspector. There's going to be a lot of that happening.
Yeah.
In different stages.
Yeah. Because this is the big retention tank that they have to build under the parking lot, I think is probably what you're referring to.
I'm amazed. I thought it would be a retention tank, and it's a system that goes all the way around the property.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that something that elaborate is necessary. But I do know that once the Corps of Engineers gets involved, that they do require.
They are thorough, yeah, and that is what we have. So, thank you. Sorry we can't answer the specifics. I'll try to find out some more information and let you know as soon as I find something out. And what I'll do is I'll give you an update at the December meeting. I'll make sure to put that on my mayor's report. Just give an update on that. At this point, I didn't do it only because all I could report is that there are some holes in the ground and there's a lot of dirt being moved around. Hopefully we'll have something more substantive.
Well, they've done quite a lot. You know, they've put in these basins, and they've attached maybe half of them to pipes. But I just wondered why they'd stop.
Yeah. Don't know, but your explanation, Gail's explanation is probably a better one than mine.
I think it's,
Any other questions, comments? Yes,
Jean Kaufman. I just have a general question, because I don't know.
as a resident of the town of Washington.
The question is, because I've started walking in COVID, which is like a whole new experience for me. And of course, when I walk, I look around and wave at people and see what's happening. Echo, thanks to Patrick, by the way, for fixing up all the buildings. It looks really nice. The question is about some of the other town buildings. I'm sure there's like a committee or something to maintain those things. That's a question, not a statement.
Right.
Perhaps rhetorical if you need to.
There is not a committee outside of the Architectural Review Board.
Oh, it's on the ARB to fix it?
Well, the ARB has a certain responsibility for the stylistic.
Oh, that I know, but I'm talking about the funding. I mean, like, they need money, you know, like the town buildings. I mean, I know I think there was a study done, right?
oh, those are county buildings.
Yeah, the county.
Those are county
Oh,
buildings.
county, I'm sorry, within the town, pardon me, yeah.
I know that, Jeannie, they're starting work already on some of the town buildings. I know that because they're using my electric.
County
County buildings.
County buildings within the township, yeah, my fault. So you guys have no say, no input?
Yeah. And all I do know from being an observer at some of the, gosh, I can't remember what they call themselves, the building task force that the county had, that they were looking at doing some kind of long-term plan for all the buildings within that the county either had or were planning to need. And I don't know whatever happened to that study. Did it ever, I know it went to the,
I went to the Board of Supervisors, and in amongst the Board of Supervisors, they decided they had to go out and hire a full outside company and pay them a lot of money to verify everything. So that was done. Then they're starting now with some of the work, like some of the wiring is scary. So they're starting it little by little.
It just seems that the town would also have an interest in the aesthetic of it. You know, like to sort of, hey guys, how's it going? I understand the power structure part, but as far as, you know, how could we?
I will certainly bring it up in my next meeting with the county administrator. I meet with the county administrator on a regular basis, and we'll be happy to bring that up as a question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Then I will close the public forum at this time, and then we will not end, but we will now go into a closed session.
You have to invite Barbara to stay.
Do we do that as part of the motion? To invite Barbara to
He
stay?
has to invite Barbara to stay for the,
That would be part of each motion.
Okay. So, and Mr. Bennett, do you have a motion for us?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I asked consider the form of the first motion, and I've modified it slightly from what is on the agenda here, but it would go, town attorney will request council to consider voting on entering into closed session in accordance with provisions of Virginia Code 2.23711A7 to consult with the town attorney as to the post office building and site construction, a specific legal matter requiring the provision of legal advice. That would be the first motion. And the second motion would be to go into closed session in accordance with the A7 of the Virginia Code for consultation with the town attorney concerning the legal requirements and issues of any adjustment to the town boundaries, a specific legal matter requiring the provision of legal advice.
All right, so we have those two motions, and then the third motion would be to invite the town clerk to be part of the closed session.
As to each matter.
All right, so do we have to do a roll call for each of these three motions, or can we do one roll call vote for the entirety?
I think if there's no objection from any member of council that you could combine them.
Okay, is there any objection from any member of the council? All right, then we have a motion before us, which will combine, Barbara, the two motions with the change that Mr. Bennett cited for the first motion, and then I presume it would be the third motion to invite the town clerk to be in the closed session.
Both, as to both matters.
As to both matters. All right, so we have a motion in front of us that I have made.
I'll second.
And Gail seconds. And any other discussion? All right, roll call vote to approve this motion, Patrick?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for attending tonight. The town is going into closed session.